An AI hands you an answer and keeps the reasoning to itself. You can ask it to explain afterward, sure, but what you get back is a fresh story about a decision that already happened. And you've got no way to hold that story against whatever actually drove the conclusion. That's gone by then. So if these things are going to start making calls that cost somebody something, the reasoning has to outlive the moment that it got used in a shape that anyone can check without taking the agent's word for any of it. What happens here is an agent will pay a few cents and a critical step of its reasoning will land on a public ledger permanently. Anyone can check it afterward. Doing that takes no account with us and no permission from me. All right, so we've got Goose loaded up here and we're going to feed it a prompt. Basically, we're going to ask it to put its name on a piece of reasoning. The taxonomy, again, cited from the rule registry here. So nothing is stamped yet. The plugin pulls the rule down off the live registry and shows the agent what it says. Then the agent has to decide whether it believes it. And this is the key part to watch. Nobody's asking it to run a procedure here. The question is whether the reasoning in the published rule matches what the agent already knows about how color works, and it's told to refuse if the answer comes back as no. Testimony from something that would have signed anything put in front of it is not worth the fee. Where the rule comes in is from the chain. Every definition in this taxonomy carries one ontology reference inside its semantics, the same DOI on all 61, and that's the canonical source that the whole color domain resolves back to. The claim space is closed on top of all that. It builds what the published rulebook allows and refuses everything else before there's anything to pay for. So let's go ahead and drop prompt 2. We're going to ask it to take the premium door. It doesn't have a Hedera account. I do. I loaded up my payer ID in my plugin, so I have a Hedera account. It's funded, but the agent doesn't. So I'm going to ask the agent first to generate its own key pair. I don't want to see it. I don't need to see it. We're going to then settle the payment against the terms of the challenge that the fetch just received and then publish it. So after that, we're going to check. I've got my redeem script running in the background, and that'll vend the key token that it's going to need for the premium lane. And then once it has the token, it's going to stamp that claim on lane B, signing as the new account rather than the funding account, which is, again, my payer ID. And this is the reasoning that it already said it agrees with, going onto the record under a signature that belongs to it. Woohoo! Perfect. So what happened is basically it worked. Created its new account here, 0.0.9848305. That is Nemotron 3 Ultra's account. All right, so we'll go ahead and grab this consensus timestamp right here, and we'll come over to hash scan, and we'll check it out. So looks like we were able to get that super cheap fee. Here's the payer account. Again, that's the account that I loaded into my plugin. So that's the transaction that the payer paid for. And then if I hop over to our website, the proof wall, we can see that I've refreshed the page, and you can see that now lane B, key denominated sequence 15, same payer ID, 9848305. Here's our transaction, and you can see the proof. Pretty sick. So these different art images that you see are denominated by the lane. Between the two claims, the only thing that changes is the lane, and the art is coming from lane A or lane B. So now the agent has generated its own key locally on this machine, and we haven't seen it. So the agent ends up owning the identity instead of borrowing one, or it could use one that you assigned it if you already have your own identity infrastructure being built out. And then it pays real USDC on Hedera, settling terms that are published, and it costs 50 cents. Paying and delivering are two steps. So the x402 exact scheme wants the payment to be a plain transfer. So I can't wrap that in a contract call that does both at once. So you actually walk out as the payer, you walk out with a receipt. And that receipt is a claim on delivery that we're bound to honor. You saw that with the redeem script running in the background, those multiple retries. Our watcher sees it and then delivers that key, and nobody's money's sitting stranded while that happens. And that same split, again, is what gives this path to other chains. So the receipt settled somewhere else redeems down the identical road. So cross-chain enablement. A couple minutes ago, this agent didn't exist on Hedera, and now it has an account with money in it, holding a key that's good for a proof. Okay, so now we'll do the cheap door. It's the native Hedera lane A. This is for an agent who might already have an account. Doesn't need to create an account, so nothing to really wait on. One transaction, the fee gets charged inside the same transaction that's going to record the proof in this lane. Hedera has custom fee topics that let the payment rail be the checkout, which is awesome. It collapses it all into one event, and there's nothing that you have to reconcile afterwards. Both doors write to the same record, and a stranger checking either one runs the same 4 checks. You can get the same answer. The extra 50 cents, again, buys you an account. So, all right. Lane A, cheap door, complete and verified. Here's our consensus timestamp, the topic, the signer. So, as you can see, our sanitization is working. It's not gonna be able to do this. Why? Because I have it coded in the layer that the model can't access. Right? It can only access the tool, and the witness stamp tool doesn't expose a parameter to choose which account signs. It uses that default funding account for lane A, which again is our payer ID that the person running the agent controls. So this is by design. The cheap door lane A is a 1 transaction receipt from the funding account. The premium door is a 3 transaction genesis that hands you a new account, which then signs. Now, what's cool is the agent or you as the user could grab that key pair out of your files, because it is stored for you, and plug it in. And now the agent does have its own Hedera wallet. This limitations markdown file ships with the product. We got the price upside down in the first pass, corrected it. And then there's also, there was a token issue where the memo carried some internal shorthand that I didn't want it to, and can't edit token memos, so I had to do another token. And we recorded that, as well as the payment and delivery split. It sits in the limitations file as well. The piece that we have designed for but haven't yet built is the settlement arriving from other chains. So a proof means somebody paid. Those exact bytes were recorded at that moment. Whether that claim is true is a different question. The file is careful about which of the two it's answering. So today we can prove white. Nothing underneath this mechanism ever really reads the rulebook, though. So the domain is a parameter that you can swap. There's a lot of machine reasoning coming, done on people's behalf, and some share of it will have to be checkable by whoever it was done for. So that's what I'm working to build here. That's what this bounty submission is for. Thank you for all your time, and I really look forward to hearing back from you.